Senate or the House or whatnot, but you never know. We all have an interesting path ahead of us, and we might end up there in the future.
And are you also participating in either the walkouts or the March for Our Lives?
Yes. We are planning to organize a school walkout the same day that most of the schools are doing the national walkout on the 14th.
March 14th.
As well as March 14th. And then also we want to take part in the March for Our Lives. We're trying to see about getting a few members of our group in DC, but also starting a march in Michigan, whether it be in our hometown of Kalamazoo or going to the Capitol and setting up a march there.
So the other thing I wanted to ask you about is I have young children. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. A lot of our listeners also have young children. Do you have suggestions for us for how to raise our children to be politically engaged as they get older? And, I think it's so incredible that you guys are getting really engaged with this as high schoolers, as seniors in high school. What are the experiences that you've had that have helped motivate you to do this now?
Yeah, so I think the two biggest things are, one, just having the knowledge, having the education behind the basics of how does our government work, or how does our society work. And the second thing is just being around diverse viewpoints, diverse cultures, seeing what there is to offer. And I think the combination of having the knowledge and the diverse viewpoints, I think, is able to help the kid, develop their own ideas and be passionate about those ideas. They can decide for themselves what is right and what is wrong, and how they want to go about making the change that they want to see.
And I would highly suggest having children take government classes, because a lot of our country isn't as knowledgeable about these issues as they should be, especially in comparison to certain other countries. So make sure those kids take government classes, because that's kind of one of the things that really pushed me, into wanting to be involved, was actually learning about the government and what I can do that is not just voting.
Also, government classes are great, but I think that it's more than just, knowing the basics of the government, but also knowing how certain legislation affects them. I know for a fact that my parents have been on welfare at one point in time, and I know how that specifically affected me and how that helped us. And so I think that knowing about the different policies and how they can affect your family, and not even just in that sense, but knowing, hey, this gun control legislation means that someone can come into your school with a gun, or can be here and they can close carry, or different things like that. Having the fundamental knowledge of how it will specifically affect them, because I think that having that personal connection is huge.
Yeah, and also another thing too is advice for the parents is be open to talking to your kid about politics and about society, but don't force your views on them. Let them ask questions, let them say their viewpoints, and don't shut them down. And you can try to guide them in however you see fit, but encourage them to seek out their own information, have those discussions with you and with friends, classmates. So encourage the dialogue, I think, is also really important.
That's excellent. And what do you want to say to adults, to grown-ups right now, about how we can best support you in what you're doing?
I think right now the best way to support what we're doing is to go out and vote. That's the only way right now I think things are going to get done, because with the current government, it doesn't seem to be progressing at all. In fact, it seems to be going back on some laws, which is not a good thing. So, go out and vote and educate anyone that you know on these issues. Talk about this issue. It's not something anymore that we can just push to the side. It's something that needs to be talked about, because innocent people are dying and it needs to be stopped. And just make sure you're voting, because no matter how many people vote, your vote is still important. It matters. Your voice means something.
I'd like to add also that even if the school shooting is a few weeks past now, or there hasn't been a mass shooting in a little bit, it still doesn't mitigate the effects of guns every day, whether that be through suicide or through violence on the streets, gun violence on the streets. Guns are causing issues in everyday life for thousands, millions of Americans every day, right? It's an epidemic, and it's not just going away with each mass shooting. So don't let it die out. Don't let the media just not give it attention anymore so you don't care about it. Like, we need everyone to just keep shining the light on the issue, keep putting pressure on our lawmakers, and over time, I think that's the best way that we can get some change.
Yeah, I guess what I would say to adults is that we, as students and not being able to vote just yet, we can only do so much, and going out and voting is the bare minimum that they can do. But honestly, I think that they need to contact the lawmakers as well. Call the office, send an email if you can't call, or go in person. Be as involved as you possibly can be, because if you're not going to be there and you're not going to participate or be present, you're not going to see the change that you want to have affected.
All right. Well, thank you. I promise to you that I will do my best to vote and to call my lawmakers and to push for the changes. And I will certainly annoy everyone I know until they do it as well.
All right, thank you.
So,
Yeah.
what is the best way that people can follow what you're doing and help you out?
We are just asking that, people spread the information. We are asking a lot of Michigan students to reach out to us. We have a Twitter page at Students for GL that we're using to communicate with people. You can message us on that Twitter page. We also have an email that is linked on our page, and we're going to be coordinating some things in our local area and trying to get things done on the state scale. And we're hoping to have help and work with other students that are pushing for the same things in terms of coordinating walkouts and marches and rallies and whatnot.
Terrific. And we will put the link to your Twitter page up on our website when we post this episode as well.
Could you
All right, thank you.
also put our petition too? That's still up there, still going, and we'd still love to get it circulating through so people don't forget about the issue.
Absolutely. We can do that as well. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for talking to me. This has been really great.
Thanks
Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for having us.
I am so grateful that you guys are out there and pushing for this. I think your voices are very strong right now and very needed right now, and it's really pushing the issue forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Our theme music is called Sweeter Vermouth and was composed by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. It is licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. Our logo was created by Matthew Weflin, expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics, and is copyright 2017. You can contact us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com or at twobroadstalk on Twitter. Our podcast can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn. Please let us know if you have any trouble finding us.